An action movie superstar? A fanatic whose life is controlled by religion? Yes, the person we're talking about today is none other than Tom Cruise, the Hollywood icon known for jaw-dropping stunts, unforgettable roles, and a career that spans decades. But behind the glitz and the awards, there's a side of Tom Cruise that many people don't know. A side that raises eyebrows and makes you wonder, what is really going on behind that perfect smile? Tom Cruise is famously one of the most high-profile members of the Church of Scientology, and his role within the organization is far from ordinary. Now, I want you to think about this. How much of the man we see is Tom Cruise, and how much of it is Tom Cruise shaped by something far bigger than Hollywood? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Tom Cruise's story is far more complicated than just action movies and red carpets. There's no denying that Tom Cruise is one of the most influential male actors in Hollywood over the past several decades. Let's take a step back and revisit the beginnings of his journey. Tom Cruise, born Thomas Cruise Mapother IV, came into the world on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York. He grew up in a Catholic family with his father, electrical engineer Thomas Cruise Mapother III, and his mother, Mary Lee Pfeiffer, a special education teacher. Tom was not an only child. He had three sisters, Leanne, Marion, and Cass. Tom Cruise's childhood was far from the idyllic image of a middle-class American family. His father, as Tom later described, was a hot-tempered man, somewhat violent and unstable. The family moved frequently, which meant young Tom attended nearly 15 different schools in just 14 years. This constant upheaval left his childhood filled with instability and a lack of lasting connections. On top of that, Tom faced dyslexia. School became a daily struggle, and he often felt inadequate, falling behind his peers. This condition not only shook his confidence, but also made him feel out of place in the world of words and letters. When Tom was just 12 years old, his parents divorced. Shortly afterward, his mother remarried a man named Jack South. This was a major turning point as Tom moved in with his mother and stepfather and had to start over in a new environment. Despite a challenging childhood, Tom Cruise early on revealed a strong personality and a resilience that was hard to break. Those difficult years shaped his perseverance, his drive to rise above circumstances, and perhaps also planted the seeds of his dream to stand on stage, be recognized, and shine in front of everyone's eyes. As he entered adulthood, Tom Cruise did not choose the steady path of academics like many of his peers. After graduating from high school in New Jersey in 1980, he decided to leave behind an ordinary life to pursue a vague but burning dream, becoming an actor. With a small suitcase and unwavering determination, Tom began his journey in New York, trying his luck with small casting calls and seeking opportunities in theater troupes. But New York was harsh and closed off. Few people noticed a young man who was both shy and carried a touch of romantic charm. Eventually, Tom realized that the true land of cinema lay across the country, in Los Angeles. He arranged to move there, carrying with him the hope that Hollywood would open the door to his destiny. His first opportunity came in 1981 when Tom was cast in a very small role in the film Endless Love. Though fleeting on screen, that moment ignited his belief that he could persevere. That same year, he appeared in Taps, this time with a larger role, which helped Tom Cruise's name gain some attention within the film industry. But the real breakthrough had to wait until 1983, when Tom starred in Risky Business. In this film, the image of a young man dancing in a white shirt and long socks became a pop culture icon. Tom Cruise was no longer just a promising actor. He officially joined the ranks of Hollywood's young stars. 3 years later, Top Gun 1986 premiered. Playing the fighter pilot Maverick, Tom Cruise exploded onto the global stage. He became a symbol of masculinity, a bona fide sex symbol, and from that point on, his career entered a trajectory that few actors could even dream of. The 1990s opened like a long runway, and Tom Cruise took off with the poise of a star who knew exactly where he wanted to fly. After the boosts of the mid-80s, he entered his golden age with a series of choices that were both commercially savvy and artistically ambitious. A Few Good Men, 1992, gave him the chance to stand tall among seasoned actors. The Firm, 1993, showcased his signature type, a talented man thrown into a maze of power and ethics. Interview with the Vampire, 1994, was an experiment in nuance, a proud, seductive, and mesmerizing Lestat. Then Jerry Maguire, 1996, turned the phrase, "show me the money," into a national catchphrase. But more importantly, it nurtured an archetype, a lost hero who only becomes great by allowing himself to be vulnerable to love and responsibility. That same year, he put himself in the producer's chair with Mission Impossible, a strategic move that transformed Tom Cruise into a production brand, not just a face on a poster. By the end of the decade, Cruise collaborated with two colossal directors at opposite extremes. Eyes Wide Shut, 1999, by Stanley Kubrick, cold, complex, full of symbolism, and Magnolia, 1999, by Paul Thomas Anderson, fiery, blunt, where Cruise tore away his star persona to reveal a toxic, lonely man desperate for redemption. If one had to pick a defining moment for Cruise in the 1990s, it wasn't box office numbers or awards, but boldness. He accepted being hated, misunderstood, as long as the role had a core to bite into, to chew, to choke on. Entering the 2000s, Cruise quickly read the new map of Hollywood, the era of franchises, visual effects, and globalized box offices. He upgraded Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible 2, 2000, and steered the franchise back to precise spy thriller territory with MI3 2006, before turning each subsequent installment into its own ritual of risk. Hanging off the Burj Khalifa, Ghost Protocol 2011, clinging to a departing plane, Rogue Nation 2015, even breaking an ankle mid-stunt, yet continuing to film, Fallout 2018. These self-performed stunts were not mere gimmicks, they were an aesthetic declaration, tangibility, I am really there, my body interacting with space. In an age of CGI, Cruise sold the audience a sense of reality, and that is a rare commodity. But he wasn't only an action star. Vanilla Sky, 2001, played with shattered reflections. Minority Report, 2002, placed him in Spielberg's morally ambiguous world. The Last Samurai, 2003, was a tragic ode to honor. Collateral 2004 cast him as a quiet, cold hitman. War of the Worlds, 2005, turned a flawed father into a survivor. This period also revealed a characteristic stretch and compress rhythm. Cruise oscillated between auteur-driven and mainstream films, between the superstar image and efforts to dismantle it. When he needed self-parody, he set the screen on fire in Tropic Thunder 2008 as Le Grossman, a satire of Hollywood power itself. Of course, the career curve wasn't perfectly smooth. In the mid-2000s, Cruise's public image was jolted by personal controversies and controversial statements. Some later projects faltered, The Mummy, 2017, but Cruise had a survival reflex that was almost engineer-like: identify the problem, refine the process, push the output. He returned with the upgrade cycle of impossible missions, interspersed with idea-driven action sci-fi like Oblivion, 2013, and Edge of Tomorrow, 2014, where the looped death structure became a perfect metaphor for his own directing philosophy. Redo until it's right. Then Top Gun, Maverick, 2022, burst forth like fireworks after the storm. Not just a belated sequel, the film was a bold defense of the theater experience. Real planes, real altitude, real emotions. Cruise here was both Maverick defying time and the keeper of the classic movie star flame in a market where brand often outweighs humanity. With Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. Part 1, 2023, continuing the trajectory, the message became even clearer. He is building a trust contract with audiences. I take risks so you can believe that cinema is still a visceral, physical experience, not just data. Looking across 3 decades, a rare strategy emerges. Collaborate with A-list filmmakers to sharpen craft and credibility. Own and control long-running brands to ensure economic leverage. Invest in physicality to stand out amidst CGI. Occasionally dismantle his own image to release pressure. On a deeper level, Tom Cruise roles revolve around a single motif: a talented human facing limits, ethical, physical, emotional, and only overcoming them by accepting vulnerability. That is why his sprints and stunts are never meaningless. Each step is a plea against the fear of failure, a desperate effort to reclaim control. If the 1990s were the era of aesthetic courage, the 2000s onward became the era of operational discipline. Tom Cruise is actor, producer, and experienced architect. He no longer waits for Hollywood to choose him. He designs games Hollywood cannot resist. And now, whether you love or are weary of the Tom Cruise brand, one fact is undeniable. Few stars today know or dare to risk so much to protect the theater experience that we once cherished. Alongside his career successes and widespread admiration, Tom Cruise also has certain controversial aspects, causing many to question his true character. Of course, there are perfectly valid reasons for people to feel this way. Tom has long been known as a member of the Church of Scientology. Scientology is a relatively new religion that offers its followers a path to understanding the true nature of the human spirit and their relationships with themselves, their families, their communities, and humanity as a whole. Scientology holds that humans are not merely the product of their environment or genetics. However, the religion has been considered a cult in some countries and has been accused of exploiting its members for business and personal gain. When Scientology is mentioned, the first name that often comes to mind is undoubtedly Tom Cruise, who has also served as a prominent public face of the religion. Tom Cruise is believed to have entered Scientology in 1990 under the guidance of his first wife, Mimi Rogers. However, Mimi herself was the one who decided to leave Scientology and to leave her handsome husband as well, a decision that surprised many. Moving on to his second wife, Nicole Kidman, the Australian actress famously known as the Australian Swan. She threw herself into Scientology's courses and psychological evaluations. Thanks to Tom Cruise's fame and influence within the church, Nicole advanced quickly, reaching the OT2 operating Thetan Level 2 rank in a short period. But that glamour didn't last forever. Like Mimi, Nicole gradually grew disillusioned. She decided to withdraw from Scientology and divorce Tom after more than a decade of marriage in 2001. Not only that, she distanced herself from the 2 adopted children she and Cruise had cared for together, marking a painful turning point in both of their lives. After that, Tom Cruise dated Spanish actress Penelope Cruz for 3 years. Representatives for Penelope confirmed that the actress never formally joined Scientology, but she did participate in some courses she found beneficial. This illustrates the influence the church can exert on those closest to Cruise. Tom's third wife, Katie Holmes, initially showed enthusiasm for the church. In fact, when they held their wedding in Italy in 2006, she even filed a complaint against Leah Remini, a former Scientology member, because Remini had publicly questioned the mysterious disappearance of Shelley Miscavige, the wife of the church leader. Katie also began courses and underwent psychological evaluations while dating Tom. But by 2012, things changed. She filed for divorce and took her daughter Suri, then just 6 years old, away while Tom was filming in Iceland. Journalist Tony Ortega, who has investigated Scientology for decades, told the Daily Mail, "Katie must have witnessed what Isabella and Connor, Tom and Nicole's adopted children, went through in the church. Children start these courses around age 6, which was Suri's age when Katie left. I don't blame these women. They loved him. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be part of the life of someone you love. But Scientology is extremely difficult to endure." On July 31st, Ortega revealed on Substack's Underground Bunker that he had the opportunity to speak with Bruce Hines, who had conducted psychological evaluations for Nicole Kidman. Hines stated that the Aquaman actress advanced quickly within Scientology's educational system. Cruise and Kidman spent many weeks at the church's central headquarters, known as the Int Base or Gold Base, near the town of Hemet in Riverside County, California. There they had private study rooms with supervisors and assistants to help with terminology. If desired, they could undergo multiple psychological evaluations each day, 7 days a week. Ortega and others have reported that Nicole and Cruz gradually distanced themselves from the church in the later years of their marriage. However, after their divorce, Scientology's current leader, David Miscavige, launched a deliberate campaign to bring Tom Cruise back into the church. Meanwhile, when asked about the challenges Ana de Armas might face while dating Tom Cruise, Scientology experts offered differing opinions. Musician Jeffrey Levin, who was involved with the church for more than 50 years before leaving in 2018, said that Ana would have to undergo instruction and learn the language of Scientology so as not to feel lost at events. He emphasized that whether she could handle this pressure would depend on what she wanted from the relationship. Levin also described that back when Nicole Kidman was Tom's wife, she was treated like a queen at the celebrity center of Scientology, but gradually began to see what was hidden behind the glamour. He described Tom Cruise as warm, polite, and willing to help, and said Nicole was friendly and kind as well. On the other hand, de la Carrière suggested that Ana might not face as many difficulties as Tom's previous partners, since he has shown more distance from the church in recent years, not promoting Scientology at events or taking photos with David Miscavige, even though he remains a member. However, journalist Ortega insists that Tom still maintains a close relationship with Miscavige and remains deeply involved with the church. Ortega stressed that being Tom's girlfriend or wife is an extremely stressful experience because he approaches every relationship with intensity while carrying the full weight of Scientology along with him. Currently, Scientology, Tom Cruise, and Ana de Armas have not responded to these reports. Alongside the dazzling spotlight that Tom continues to receive, there have always been rumors that leave people feeling indescribably uneasy. From his unblinking gaze and almost perfect smile to an energy that seems to overflow beyond the normal. Every detail about him captivates while simultaneously unsettling those who observe. One of the most notable stories occurred in 1988, when Cruise appeared as a guest on The Letterman Show for the first time. What seemed like an ordinary interview ended up inspiring Christian Bale when he created the character Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. The radiant smile, the hair, the jawline, every detail was so finely tuned it seemed almost inhuman. Bale once described it as, there was no friendliness behind the eyes at all, and he turned that observation into the foundation for a character who was outwardly glamorous, yet quietly intent on destroying others 24/7. Tom even once recounted a situation on a flight. He and the co-pilot had turned off the oxygen for a passenger in the back to maintain altitude. As he told the story, he laughed, and David Letterman had to interrupt with a balancing remark, "Is that true?" This moment wasn't just a funny anecdote. Upon closer examination, it revealed a mix of emotions, a joking attitude, and recklessness in a life-threatening situation, details that inspired Christian Bale's portrayal of Patrick Bateman. Another equally famous moment was when Cruise jumped onto a chair on the Oprah Winfrey Show and declared, "I'm in love with Katie Holmes." The video immediately went viral, a pre-social media cultural phenomenon. But the deeper impact was that it shook the controlled, calm, and composed image that Cruise had carefully cultivated. A star who seemed always to have everything under control suddenly revealed a state of overexcitement, causing the public to shift from amazement to questioning his stability and how he expressed emotions in real life. This phenomenon has been widely analyzed and is still regarded as a landmark moment in public perception of Cruise. That same year, in an interview on the Today Show with Matt Lauer, people witnessed yet another facet of Tom, a blend of talent, charisma, and moments that made everyone wonder, is he really normal? Let's take a look back at a rather controversial moment in Tom Cruise's career. In 2005, he publicly criticized the field of psychiatry and the use of antidepressant medications. Cruise used the case of Brooke Shields as an example, asserting that medication only masks the problem rather than addressing it at its root. But this was not just a typical contrarian opinion. It immediately created direct clashes with both patients and medical professionals, as it touched directly on mental health and medical treatment, a sensitive issue that sparked strong public reactions. People who worked closely with Cruise also left many remarks. Actress Thandie Newton described her time filming Mission Impossible 2 as a nightmare. She was reportedly asked to perform the same terrible scene repeatedly, to the point where Cruise had to step in to demonstrate how it should be done, which only heightened her anxiety and stress. Other reports indicate that Cruise's working relationship with Brad Pitt was tense, as the two were seen as representing opposite extremes in work style. Even Marquand, another collaborator, publicly objected when one of Cruise's statements was misinterpreted as comparing acting to the battlefield in Afghanistan, which led to a heated backlash and subsequent legal statements. But what drew the most attention was Cruise's position, not just as a film star. He was also a power symbol of Scientology, a religion that has long been met with skepticism in Hollywood. A leaked internal video from 2008 showed Bruce Miscavige speaking with a commanding tone, emphasizing that only Scientology members had the ability to help humanity. This footage not only exposed Cruise's close affiliation with the church, but also placed him in the role of a global evangelist, a position very few Hollywood stars would dare assume. In the internal video, Cruise says, "Now people, okay, these are the times we will all remember. Were you there? What did you do? I think you know that I'm there for you and I do care very much." The video quickly spread widely, causing the public to view Cruise as a fanatical figure and sparking waves of ridicule online. It was one of those moments when people weren't just talking about his talent, but also about his deep involvement with Scientology and the way he wielded power in Hollywood. Many speculated that Tom was not just a member of Scientology, but perhaps had become an experiment of the church itself. They argue that this might be the best explanation for why his attitudes and behaviors could change so extremely. Tom Cruise has claimed that Scientology saved his life and described it as a beautiful religion that shaped the man he is today. It sounds inspiring and heartfelt, but this fervent devotion also sparked unexpectedly strong backlash. Most notably, he publicly criticized Brooke Shields for taking antidepressants, a move that directly contradicted Scientology's teachings, which view psychiatry as the enemy. The issue wasn't merely that Tom had his own religion, but that he became a staunch defender of an organization accused of dividing families, vilifying defectors, and exploiting members. Scientology has repeatedly faced investigations and allegations regarding the control and financial, emotional, and social exploitation of its members. And as the public face of the church, Tom Cruise, even if he didn't directly harm anyone, could not escape being associated with these actions. He enjoyed privileges, fame, and power, but never publicly stood up for the victims harmed by the organization. This contributed to the gradual erosion of his image among colleagues and the public. Although on screen, Tom remains a box office star with rare charisma and reputation. Outside the spotlight, the story of his fervent faith and the controversies surrounding Scientology has left undeniable stains in the eyes of the public. If you found this video helpful and interesting, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Every comment from you is very meaningful to us and is a great help in preparing our next content. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to explore further, please feel free to leave a comment. We will continue to strive to bring you better content and more insightful stories. Wishing you good health, and may each day be filled with wonderful things. See you in the next video!